Hi guys, welcome back to Renpet Bath Beauty. We're on a completely different side of my upstairs kitchen counter, so it might be a little bit dark. Once the sun gets out of the window on the other side, I'll move you, but it was way too bright over there when I was looking at it. So, as I said last Friday, what Lauren and ow, that was hot. Yeah, touch a hot crock pot, that works. Lauren and I have decided that we're going to perfect our body wash. And I have changed the recipe up. The recipe that I came up with to begin with was okay. Just in case you didn't watch, last Tuesday's video. Oh, so yeah, I guess it would have been last Tuesday. Anyway, um, it was okay. So instead of olive oil, I changed it to sunflower, and instead of palm oil, I changed it to shea butter. But and I added just a teeny bit of avocado. It's got castor and coconut in it as well. So what I'm going to do is go through all the steps because I've decided I'm going to do you guys saw me do my hand soap earlier this month, and I want to, I'm sorry, not earlier this month, a ways back, sorry, my bad. I want to use vegetable glycerin to mix my potassium hydroxide in because liquid soap takes potassium hydroxide. And then instead of distilled water for my dilution substance, I'm going to use aloe vera juice. So is that too dark for you? That's way too dark. I'm going to have to see if I can't change y'all up because that looks too dark. But yeah, I've got everything in here. This is only a 16-ounce batch of oils, so it's very, very small. This is, a test batch. I was going to make it 8 ounces, but then my stick blender would have really had a problem inside the crock pot. So, okay, I'm going to let this melt, and we'll be back. See you in a few. Bye-bye. Okay, all my oils are melted. So if you watched my last liquid soap video that I used vegetable glycerin in, vegetable glycerin is really thick. So I'm going to stick this in the microwave. This is more vegetable glycerin than no, this is less. I'm sorry. So I'm going to put it in the microwave for 2 minutes to get it hot and thin enough in order for me to put my potassium hydroxide in. And I swear you won't have this sun the whole time. At least I hope not. But yeah, I'm going to do that really quick and then I'm going to come back, okay? Okay, so this is nice and liquid. I'm going to move this out of the way. Now, when you add potassium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, whatever, you guys can't even see this. I apologize. Gosh, it's gonna be terrible. It's like 10:50 in the morning, so the sun will be on the other side of the house by the time we come back. Momentarily. I'll try to put the camera on the other side to see if that changes things after I stick blend this all in. But anyway, usually I do this in the sink, but we didn't have a problem last time, so I'm going to go ahead and do it in here. Now, when you're using vegetable glycerin as your base, it takes longer for the potassium hydroxide to mix in. Sometimes, it can take sometimes up to 5 minutes. If you watched, like I said, my hand soap video, it took quite a while. So, I hope everybody's doing okay. I've had an interesting week. It's been, I did that custom order that y'all saw, you know, last week, and that was a lot of fun to do. Thought I would see, there it goes, look at it. So that's why I usually do it in the sink. Oh, you probably didn't even see that because it's too bright. Once the potassium hydroxide actually like fully got in there, it bubbled up and almost came out of my cup. You just gotta keep stirring. Okay, so let me get this back in your view and get this out of here. I'm gonna pour this potassium hydroxide vegetable glycerin mixture in there really carefully. Scrape it out. Jeez, this container is hot, hot, hot. It can get so hot, I swear. Okay, let me... Alright, so I'm going to stick blend this. I'll put some music on for you. I like to get it to a very thick trace. Okay, I'm gonna turn the music off because this is gonna be one of those liquid soaps that it may take, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes in order for it to come to a trace. I'll try to turn the camera back on, like right when it traces. Well, you know what? I'll just leave the camera on and then, you know, I can edit it out. All right. Sometimes you just have to stir it with the stick blender for a minute because your stick blender can get pretty hot. See, Judy's getting pretty hot. This is going to be a good soap if it's doing this. I'm telling you. Hopefully, anyway. I tell you, sometimes liquid soaps can take forever to trace. And with my notebook, I will put in there how long it took to trace because I looked at the clock right before we started. Judy is gonna overheat. So I'm just gonna keep stirring it because it's the heat and agitation that's gonna make it emulsify. See, it's starting to get there with some parts of it anyway. Just gotta let Judy cool off a little bit. And this might be one of those that turns hard as a rock once it emulsifies. Because sometimes they do that depending on what oils and butters and things like that that you use. this may be a totally different looking soap than my hand soap. But then again, my hand soap has been perfected, so Judy's overheating so much I might have to go downstairs and get Martin. No, I'm serious. She is like hot, hot, hot. Watch when I go downstairs. It's gonna... Oh, see, we're getting close. This is the top, the bottom of it is really getting there. All right, let's go. Well, Merton isn't getting hot at all. I just got to get this soap off of him. It's starting to get thicker. We have been stick blending for, oh geez, 30 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going. See, this is this is gonna be like my dish detergent. My dish detergent takes 45 minutes to an hour to trace. But like I said, I'm keeping the camera rolling. And say hello to Martin. Martin is so beautiful. What was I going to say? Oh, but you'll be here so that way, you know, I can let you see what it looks like once it traces. This is going to be one of those hard as a rock ones. Okay, gonna stick blend some more. We're getting way thicker now, guys. But it's been an hour. No, an hour and 10 minutes. I gotta switch blenders again. What do you know? It's so hot. Judy is so hot. You know, I think if this recipe is great, that this will be something I'll have to do in large batches. I actually bought the 16-ounce bottles to put this in. We're gonna sell it in 16 ounces. And we'll have 3 men's fragrances and 3 women's fragrances. And let's get Martin in here. So, and by the way, I have to make beer soap again. It's already, I only have 4 bars left. It's gone really well, which is that Calvin Klein's Intuition will be one of the fragrances that we use for the body wash. Okay, hold on. Let me plug Martin in. I may let it sit here for a minute and let it thicken up. I'm going to stick blend it with Martin for a minute, and then I'm probably going to leave it here for 10 minutes and then come back and stick blend it. Unless, of course, you know, it's suddenly, because sometimes this will just suddenly trace on you, and then you're like, whoa. Okay, yeah, I'm going to let it sit for 10 minutes. I'm going to leave Martin in here. Just want to get this off of here, scrape the sides. And then I'll come back to it. I'll set my timer. This happens with my dish soap every once in a while. Makes me mad, but it happens. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to get this to, it's still not traced, and it's been, you know, an hour and 40 minutes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take Martin out of here, and I am going to see what happens when I do my first 15 minutes, because you know I always evaluate, and this may not be the recipe. like I said, I mean, this is just a test. I'm hoping I can darken the film for you guys. Like, seriously. I even moved where I was on the counter yet again. So, we'll see. If it does trace, I'll bring you back. Oh my goodness. This is really starting to irritate me. Let me put my lid on. So, yes, I will be back in 15 minutes. Okay, let's check it. Oh, there we go. It's cooking. Look at that. I bet I can get it to trace now, because it is cooking. It might already be traced. Let's try this. Let's stick with it, Martin. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to do it for another 15 minutes. We're looking good, actually. See, maybe that was the problem, that this one wasn't going to trace like I was expecting it to. Because, you know, like I said, when I do my dish soap, it gets rock hard when it traces. So maybe this is just more like my hand soap. So I'm gonna let it go for another 15 minutes. I will bring you back when I do that. And then what I do is that after this 15 minutes, I will start my cook time. Let me set my timer. Okay, and after my 15 minutes, I'm going to bring you back, and then after that, I go every half an hour for 3 hours, and I'll let it cool down overnight, and we will come back tomorrow. I'll probably be downstairs tomorrow, because I know you guys are having a hard time seeing. I can't find, you know, the great place to do this, and it doesn't help that my crock pot is white. So, and I will take this downstairs as well after this first 15 minutes so you guys can see better, okay? All right, bye. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Yeah, I mean, the color of the batter underneath this foam is beautiful. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just let this cook, and I'm going to see what happens with it. Like I said, this is an experiment with a new recipe. So, yep, we'll see how it goes, guys. I'll bring you back in a half an hour. I'm going to take everything downstairs so y'all can see better. Woo, there we go. All right, I'm going to take you downstairs. An hour. Let me put some gloves on. I didn't wear gloves the last time I was messing with it. That was bad. You know what? I gotta move this beer over here so I don't. I'm letting it get flat right now so I can make some more telekinesis. I bought a whole bunch, you know, because like I said, we're gonna do, once I perfect this recipe, we're gonna do 3 men's and 3 women's body washes. Wow, this is so thin, but I bet it's gonna be like a brick tomorrow once it's. Oh, let me bring you guys in. Bring it down just a little bit, or up just a little bit. There you go. See how dark that is? It's very dark. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue to let it cook and whatnot, but let me show you. I've got to make sure I take my notes. So at 1:52 p.m. still very liquid. Check in 30 minutes. So this is how I do, you know, when I'm making new soaps. I'll go ahead. Oh, this was my second. That was my second 15 minutes that I didn't fill in. Anyway, so I'll come back down in another half an hour and check it, and I will go ahead and continue my notes in my batch book. I have a brand new one. Because I have a feeling that this recipe might take a while, and I'll try some variations without you guys too, I'm sure, because I'm sure you guys aren't going to want to see me, you know, do this all the time. But we will do lotion, and I have to make more bath salts before the Christmas season, so we'll do bath salts. I think I'm going to add a fragrance to that. I think I'm going to add Sweet Child of Mine to that. I got to talk to Lauren about it though. So, all right, we are done for right now. I will be back. Well, okay, I'm going to check this every 30 minutes. I will come back to you when I am about to turn my crock pot off. How's that? Okay, bye. Okay, let me write my notes here really quick. This is my 3 hours. My 3 hours is ended. Still liquid. Turning off. Check in the morning. Okay, so this is what we have. Let me put this over here. This is what we have. Look at how liquid that is. Look at that. And it almost looks like coffee. Although, let me get some of this on my spatula as I stir this, and I'll show you what is happening to it. It's a possibility I may have mismeasured the water content. It is possible. I'm not sure yet. But when I stir it, it's definitely gelled as far as like, you know, the transparency and the shininess of it and whatnot. So I sort of expect for tomorrow when I come down here that this is going to be gelled. So I'm probably not going to have to add that much aloe to it. I was going to do because in the original recipe I did a 1-to-1 ratio. I'm going to turn this off. I did a 1-to-1 ratio, and I kept having to add water, and in my notes it said to add a 2-to-1. So I will start with a 1-to-1 ratio if it turns into paste, which it should, I hope. You know, when we heat it back up, I'll do a 1-to-1, and I will transfer it into my larger crock pot though. We'll come back and weigh it together and that kind of stuff, but I will be transferring it to my larger crock pot, you know, in case of, you know, having to add more water. So, all right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. We will stay downstairs, I promise. I'm sure that lighting was terrible, or at least what I could see of it was terrible, and I so much apologize to you guys. I'm going to try to fix it in editing. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I didn't want to have to go up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down the stairs, but, you know, seems like that's gonna be how it is. So, all right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Let me grab a bucket. Guess I should have done that already. I checked this last night, and it is completely turned into paste. Let me grab some of it out of here, just off the surface. I'll take everything out of it off camera, but it has turned into paste. Can you see it? Yeah, you can. It's a little dark, but I think that's because of the shea butter. We'll see what it looks like when it's diluted, because I fully intend, if, you know, once I get the recipe right, I fully intend on coloring, scenting, you know, that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything out of here and I'm going to weigh it. And where's my book? Oh, it's over there. I was just going to say, uh-oh. I'm going to weigh it and we'll come back after that. All right, bye. Well, I apologize if y'all didn't get to see me put the aloe vera juice in the crock pot. I had come downstairs and my camera was still on, but it wasn't recording. And I noticed when I went to turn, to stop recording after I had set everything and whatnot, that the camera had died. So, if it didn't get there, I'm going to explain to you guys what I did again. Let me grab my book. I decided to go with a 1 to 1.5 ratio. So the paste was 29 ounces and I added 47.1 ounces of aloe vera juice. And that's what we're going to start with, because according to the original recipe, that while the oils and butters are different in here, I think I said at the beginning I exchanged the olive oil for sunflower and the palm oil for shea butter. If it needs to be thickened afterwards, we'll do, the salt solution, which, if nobody's ever seen any of that be done, then, at least that's some education. But I came down here to check on it to see how much. Oh, we're doing really good. That's almost completely melted. Okay, I'm going to turn this down to keep warm. We're almost completely melted. And, as I've said before when I've made liquid soap, you never know what the consistency or the velocity, that's not the viscosity. Velocity, that's when you move. The viscosity of the soap is going to be until it is completely cooled off. It is 2:20, so we will be able to find out today. And I'm glad that it lightened the color. I was really worried with how dark that paste was, because I want to, if this recipe, which, I'm not expecting it necessarily to be the right recipe, but I was pleased with the ratios of the oils and butters I chose. If there's any tweaks that need to be done, it will be done within those same oils and butters. But what I am going to do at this moment, no, you know what? I'm going to wait until it cools off some. Because I'm going to add vitamin E to this. But I want it to be cooled off enough that it's not going to damage the vitamin E that I put in here. Yeah, this will be colorable even with some lighter colors. So I think it's the shea butter that made it so dark. I find that when you hot process shea butter, it turns dark as well. So there's not, while I do have shea butter in my hot process soap, it's not enough. The content of shea butter in this one is much higher than in my hot process soap. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna actually, you know what? Let me check one more time, because I may be able to just turn it off and let the heat. Well, that was a big clump that I just ran into. Where is it? Oh, there's a clump. I could have swore I just felt a big clump. Oh, I don't know. Well, I'll check it in a half an hour and see where we're at. Yeah, there's a few chunks in there. But with the keep warm, it should be okay. So I will check it in a half an hour, and I won't bring you guys back for that. I'll bring you guys back when we're ready to deal with the viscosity and you know, all of that. So it'll be later on this evening, but because it'll take a while for this to cool off, I assure you. All right, guys, I'll see you in a few. Bye. Let's see if this 1.5 times water, well, technically aloe vera juice, well, there's still a little bit of, you know what I think I'm gonna do? There is still, see this little bit of soap here floating on the top? Can you see that? See, there's still a little bit of soap floating here on the top. This is how we know. Let me see if I can pick some of this up. It's hard to do with spatula. Yeah, it's really hard to do, but hopefully you can see the little specks in there. This pretty much says that there is not enough liquid. I don't feel any of the, what's it called? The chunks or anything, but those being present means it doesn't have enough water. So, and there's not much. There's like not much at all. They'll reappear. See, they're starting to reappear because I stirred it all up, but now they're starting to reappear. What I think is going to happen, because I'm most likely going to have to use a 20% salt solution on this to thicken it up once it's completely cooled down. Lost my train there. And I think that the addition of, because I'll mix my salt with aloe vera juice, the addition of that water will take care of that little bit. Because let's say, like with my hand soap, I had to do it twice. Let's say, you know, then I'm adding 6 more ounces of liquid, and that should take care of that. Now, if I'm gonna take this out of the crock pot, set it on the counter, if I wake up in the morning or check, because I mean it's 4 o'clock right now, 4:03, which I should probably write all of this down in my notebook before I go upstairs. My daughter is here. She's waiting for her husband to get off work later. But anyway, if when this completely cools down, there is a skin on there, that's a different story. That is totally a different story, y'all. Let's not knock the beer down. Yeah. Have to make more beer soap. Let me write this down really quick. So, and if you have any questions about that process, like how much water you should add with how much skin, if my explanation isn't adequate, I can go into more detail, you know, in an email. As you guys know, my email address is always in the description box. What I do is because I keep records, I know it was 4 o'clock. Hold on one second. Still some soap to be dissolved. I just need to write that, and then I'll write whatever what I'm going to write is that wait till, you know, it completely cools down to determine extra liquid. Anyway, but let's say that this does form a complete skin. You'll know how much water you have already added. With my case, I did a 1 to 1.5 ratio. So what I do to begin with is I add water 8 ounces at a time, and then, you know, multiply by however many times I had to do that. with what my total, you know, total water amount would be. Does that make sense? Did that make sense at all? So if I added, because I added 47.1 ounces of water or of aloe vera juice to this, if this has a skin after it's completely cooled down, I will add 8 more ounces of aloe vera juice. And then I'll let it cool down, because I will heat it up like I do with the salt solution to about 80 degrees to add it. And then I'll let it cool down. And I know this is a time intensive process. And, my daughter and I are very fixed and determined to make this work, because you don't just have to make soap in a crock pot. I can make large batches. Once we get the formula right, we know how much water to add or aloe vera juice to add and all of that, we can completely do that in a stainless steel pot that I have purchased. So we can make larger batches. This is, like I said, just a small test batch. And like I said, if it takes 3 months, a year, it took me 3 years to perfect my lotion recipe, which, by the way, we'll be making within the next couple of weeks. I think I've mentioned that a few times. It just takes that effort, it takes that time, and it takes that effort to be able to formulate your own recipes. I have never borrowed anyone's recipe, for the sole fact that from the time I started soaping 13 years ago, that I wanted to be the one that controlled my product, if that makes sense. I wanted everything to be my creation, my model, my heart, my soul, my sweat, I wanted everything to be about the research that I do in order to get to where I want to be. I hope that made sense. That way, when I'm explaining to you guys about things, that I'm not just blowing a bunch of smoke up your behinds because I don't know what I'm talking about. I do know what I'm talking about. And with anything I've ever made, whether I've shared the recipe or not shared the recipe, whatever, I encourage you guys to ask questions, because I've done the work and I want to help people to do their own work, to be able to be confident in their formulations. Because right now I'm not confident in this formulation. I'm not confident at all. But that's because this is the first time I'm trying this recipe and I'm seeing how it goes. Because I could love this and give it to Lauren and she's like, "Oh no, Mom, I don't like that." So then I'll change it. Because she and I are business partners, we have to agree. So anyway, that was a lot of drivel for not a lot. I'll bring you guys back when this is completely cooled down, and we'll check the viscosity. We'll check to see how much water we need, or aloe vera juice we need to add, that kind of thing. So we'll be back. Bye. Oh, and by the way, I hope that didn't sound like uppity. I don't know. I guess I'll have to check in editing. I didn't mean to sound that way, so I apologize if it came off that way. Okay, this has cooled off significantly. Let me wipe that off. Try to keep I'll wipe that off. Yeah, there's a significant film on it. So, but it's, yeah, it will definitely need to have a salt solution put into it. So I'm not gonna worry. It's gonna have to be done at least twice, I'm positive, just with how thin this is. So yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start the salt solution. There's two things that you can use to thicken a liquid soap. One of them being a 20% salt solution, which is what I use in hand soap, body wash, shampoo, things like that. But I also make a liquid dish detergent that I believe my recipe is in a video somewhere. I think I gave the recipe to that. I think I did. Anyway, if you want it, you can email me. It's not a recipe that's, terribly uncommon, but in that recipe, I use borax to thicken it because, borax helps with cleansing and that kind of thing, but it's harsh on, this is a body wash. We don't want the harshness of borax on our skin. So I'm going to go ahead and boil, I think I'm going to do 6 ounces of water, and then, the salt that will go in there. Not water, aloe vera juice. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back. Okay. So it's 1.2 ounces of salt and 6 ounces of aloe vera. And it'll change color. And yes, I did not heat this back up, because I may have to, oh no, maybe not. I may have to do it one more time. I guess we'll see. Because I'll have to let it sit and rest. Because, I boiled that water. So that heats up the soap. Although it definitely is much thicker than it was before. And I gotta write this down as well, that this was added. But I think I'm gonna have to do it again. But what I want to wait and see, I want it to calm down to see if there's still a skin on the top. And I may need to be able, just a single dose more should do it. Oh, you know what else I wanted to do while we were here? If I can find it. Oh, there it is. Since we won't be heating the soap up anymore, I want to add a tablespoon of vitamin E oil. So, okay guys, I will bring you back once this has calmed down and I can reassess. Okay, gonna add another double dose of the salt aloe mixture. And wait for the color to go away. And again, wow, that really thickened it up. I will not, well, I may have to add more regular liquids. I guess I only needed to do a single dose. Although this is meant to be body wash, so, but this is really thick. I mean, that is thick. Although adding fragrance to it will thin it out, which is good. And I like the color now. The color is much better. I think I'm going to leave it like this for now, and I'll see how we like it. Yeah, I'll leave it till overnight. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, that's a nice consistency for a body wash. It's gonna thicken up just a little bit more because that water was hot. But yeah, I think that'll do it for now, and then we'll be able to test it. I'm gonna put it into bottles for my whole family to start using because obviously there's a lot here. I will, uh, because because this is a test batch. I'm not going to put preservative in it. That's it. Like I said, test batch is a test batch. I'm sorry, I'm here alone and I thought I heard something upstairs. Probably my cats. Anyway, but of course, when I do perfect the recipe, um, preservative will go in because I'll be selling it to customers. So, but anyway, yeah, we'll see if this works. I'm gonna take a nice. I'm gonna see what it feels like on my skin when I wash my hands. Because you guys don't have to watch that. I just want to see. I can always let you know in the next video how that was and whether or not I needed to add more water or anything. This video is probably long enough. And we've already seen a recent liquid video, and I'll verbally in other videos keep you updated on the progress of this, recipe I'm trying to perfect. Because I'm sure you don't want to see me do it all the time. So, which I won't do it all the time anyway, because it's a time. It takes time to do this. So, all right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.